had my master degree for Warwick University. When we started, I had my master I went to Bristol University. I'm an engineer. I have the pattern of engineering in mind. There's a pattern. So then I worked for the beginning of my career.
This morning I did a 52-minute run and I did a short live stream. So those of you can check that out, where I explain the benefits of running, why running is life-changing, why I run most days, encourage my clients to run. I also include running as part of my mentorship program. I just had a 4-hour session with a client just now. He just finished. It was amazing. Massive improvements in his life, and also with his character, with his discipline, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Definitely shed some light on anxiety and trauma, because at some point you will come to understand and realize that, you know, most of your anxiety, I wouldn't say all of it, but most of it comes from trauma, from childhood trauma. I mean, I didn't need a psychologist to tell me that growing up, or a therapist. I just knew that I just knew it. There's certain things that you know, but everyone's in different places. Some might not know that, but it's kind of popular information that's out there. Anyone with any credentials or expertise, who's a mentor, or therapist, or a teacher, who's also overcome a lot in their life, they will tell you that. Now, of course, there's healthy anxiety that we all have, that we need, which keeps us alive. You know, if you're crossing the road, you need the healthy amount of anxiety that you look both ways so that you don't die and get hit by a car. The anxiety of protecting your family if they're at threat. Healthy anxiety with before you're going to go out and give a speech, a public talk, depending on how much experience you've got. But most people are going to feel nerves. The anxiety before going into a boxing match. These are all normal human reactions, but there are certain anxieties that are out of balance, where it comes from trauma. But the good news is you can repair these traumas. You can heal a lot. I've done loads of healing on my own journey and helping clients, and I'm going to break down ways that you can do that. Now, before I get into that, it's not easy. It's not going to be comfortable. If people are thinking that it isn't true, but it's worth it. And I think that's why, well, I know from experience, from my own life experience, and from helping other people and having people help me, which is why I feel there's a lot of value that I'm always bringing, especially today, because I've got experience from getting therapy from professionals, having mentors in my life, in person, online, through boxing, Les Brown, through therapy, doctors. So I've received therapy and I've experienced the benefits and the value, which have been life-changing. And I've also given, and I'm giving that therapy right now. I've been mentoring people for 12 years and, all different challenges. So it's uncomfortable work, like anything, like going to the gym and building muscle. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not supposed to be, but if you stick with it, and if you've got the right mindset and you really want to improve, then you don't mind that there's pain, because you know that the peace is going to come, and that always gives people hope. So healing a lot of your trauma and getting past these anxieties, I mean, the process is identical, if not similar, to facing your fears of going in a boxing ring and sparring, the pain that you've got to go through. When I first started in the amateurs, I'm telling my stories again, aren't I? I'm aware that I'm reaching a point where I'm not going to use the word old, but I've arrived at some point. I'm 40, so when I was in my 20s, I was battling with anxiety, every anxiety you could imagine. I was frightened of everything. But I was, focused on this fear that I had with fighting another man, going to a boxing gym, being around people, putting myself in that environment, which was massively triggered all of my trauma from a childhood. All my fears surfaced, which is good. A lot of people think it's bad, when they get triggered. because you know a lot of us don't like it because we feel embarrassed and ashamed and all those things until we got a bit more experience and awareness and intelligence. Coffee around my mouth, chocolate. You understand that there's nothing to be ashamed of because you understand the value, you understand why it's happening, how you can improve it, and you care less. So that's already a big part of how you heal a lot of trauma. Number one is you've got to have the courage to be honest about it and be aware of it. Number two, you've got to have the courage to voluntarily start to face it and expose yourself to it so you can heal it and address it and overcome it. So that's an explanation of how you do it in any area. I'm not saying that you have to go and do boxing to fix your trauma from your past, but I'm saying that that is a way you can do it. The second way, which is what I did today with my client, is by sitting down and getting a therapist, a mentor, a skilled mentor like myself who's got experience more than a decade and is living what they teach in their own life and helping other people to get tangible results. So sitting and talking with someone that you trust, a safe space where you can get things out, your anxieties, your triggering points, that is a massive part of healing. Often people don't heal because they don't talk about their problems. They're too scared, too ashamed. So all it does is makes it worse. There's two ways that it makes it worse. Number one is it never changes. So people never ever address their anger problems, their emotional problems. They never get past their shame. In this life, we're speaking, we don't never on this life, they never get past their social anxiety. So for example, they never leave their house, they never go to functions, they don't go to a job, they don't go to a gym, they don't go to events, they don't really live their life. They don't live a healthy life. And I was like that at the start of my story, my journey. So if they don't eventually say, right, I've got to face this fear, I've got to go into these areas that are uncomfortable and triggering and painful and frightening and at times uncomfortable, then nothing's going to change. But if you do that gradually, you'll get stronger, wiser. The pain will eventually go away. When the pain starts going, you know that you've healed. Where there's massive amounts of pain, that's always the area where there's shame, there's pain, there's blame, and there's unaddressed issues. So the great thing is, the more willing you are to admit to your issues, be honest about them and vulnerable without judging yourself, if you do that, and then go and work on them. And that is a continuous process that you can continue to do for as much as you want and as long as you want if you want to get more peace. So for the amount of peace that you want, you've got to face pain. So there's not that many ways to do it, but you know, it's all about being committed and doing that intelligently. Obviously, I always like to explain to my clients and for myself that we need intelligence with everything. We need balance. So if someone says, well, I've got trauma, I've got anxiety, everything frightens me, everything's triggering, I can't come out of my house. Should I do public speaking? Should I climb mountains? Should I get therapy? Should I, go in sauna? Should I do I'd probably say no, that's too much to start with. That wouldn't be intelligent. That's probably going to traumatize you worse. Break it down one step at a time, unless you really felt that you're ready for it. So everyone's at different stages of working on their issues and their trauma. And I know this is going to be difficult, but if you really want to grow and you want to get better, you have to stop comparing to other people. As soon as you compare to someone else and go, well, they've got less trauma than me, they're more confident than me, they're less angry, you're not going to win like that. And the best way to win is not to try to win. No one's better than anyone, and no one's above anyone. Take that advice from me, and I'll explain that in another video. That'll take me ages. A mental health breakdown taught me that, and recovering and finding gratitude and faith. But if you work on you, then the only competition is you and your trauma, you and your anxiety. So I'm going to continue to share my story because this is the best way that I can help you to face your trauma and find more peace. This is how I've done it and lived it. And at times, of course, failed and struggled and got back on and succeeded. So that's why I teach on my programs 2 effective ways for men and women to overcome their anxiety, control it, improve trauma, change their life. Number 1 is honest communication with positive people, obviously. Sorry, I've got chocolate here, I need to get tissue. Honest communication. and I'll go into that in a second, so write that down. And the second one is exercise. So honest communication, I'll give examples. So when I was younger growing up, I was struggling with trust issues and trauma and anxieties. There weren't that many people that I could speak to. I didn't trust them, and it was the right decision. It wasn't always, they were not patient, and they were not therapists, and they didn't care. So I had to go and speak to my nan, who I knew did care. It was safe to talk to her. She weren't going to harm me or judge me. She was just amazing, my nan. She wasn't a therapist, she was even better. She listened, she cared, she didn't judge. It helped me a lot. It saved my life, it kept me alive. I wouldn't be alive doing this dream now if it wasn't for my nan. So, you know, whoever you find, make sure it's someone that you can trust and talk to, and is not going to be judgmental or start attacking you or adding more pain. Might be able to advise you on the right way to go about it. So that's an example that worked for me, and I know it can work for you. And some of you might be fortunate to have a nan. It doesn't have to be your nan, whoever it is. So that helped. The second thing that really helped me was joining a boxing gym, finding a community, the boxing community. So going to the gym, I didn't straight away talk about all my emotional problems, because that wasn't correct at that time. But what boxing did give me was the right therapy that I needed, so I could talk to my nan about my issues that were bothering me, my fears, and that could relieve me of my fears, and it could soften the trauma and address it. Going to boxing gave me more healing because it gave me the physical therapy, and it also got me around people who I was scared of at the time, mostly men at the time, because when I started boxing, it was women weren't boxing at that time. It was less, it wasn't as popular. But it got me more comfortable around people, and boxing was great for me because I overcome my fears of standing up to bullies, the fighting, the training. It changed my life. So exercising and communicating are two of the most effective ways that you can face the pain in your life gradually, one step at a time, at a pace that you can handle, and make massive progress. That would really help. The third one is actually getting a therapist that's trained and qualified to help you to address your trauma. And you can also do that with a mentor. I do it in my mentorship. It's not all of what actually that's not even true. It's pretty much the majority of what I do. But it's not the only thing that I do. But it's a big part of what I do, sitting down with my clients and having conversations with them. They can have the conversations that they were too scared to have, maybe for the last 10 years. And they're not going to be judged of me, because I don't judge my clients, not in that way. And I've been through the same thing, and I share my story with them and say, you don't need to feel embarrassed in front of me because I had the same thing you did and I made progress. So that really helps. Another thing that's really important, sorry, I'm battling with this coffee on this mocha, is daily discipline. So how you live your life massively plays a part with regards to you fixing your trauma, healing from it, addressing it, moving forward, getting past these anxieties or these triggering points, or adding to the problem. I'll give you an example. Make your bed every morning you wake up. When I was really traumatized when I was younger, I wouldn't. So I've got to get a tissue here. We've got to address this chocolate. This is traumatizing me on my lips. A second. It's not the end of the world. So when I was in my 20s, I couldn't make the bed because making the bed overwhelmed me, frightened me, it brought up stress. I couldn't clean my apartment because I was under so much stress and trauma. So not making the bed was making it worse. When I started to make the bed and clean, I was overpowering that stress and anxiety, and I was able to fix more of my trauma, because cleaning gives you respect, self-esteem, accountability, and all those things. So that's really important as well, which is why I'm big on this channel, getting the basics right. You know, making the bed, gratitude. It's even you don't even have to do that to fix trauma, but everyone should do that anyway. So that really helps. And you know, one of you that's been following me on the channel, you said you've been getting amazing results just by, get this coffee off, just by fixing your bed every day. Because when we make the bed every day, what we're saying is, I can handle life. I can face the things that I've got to face, the daily challenges that we all got, and I can give more and be more. So that really helps. The next thing on a broader level, which would be a process I help my clients, is what is your purpose? Living your dreams, doing what you enjoy. Most people who are traumatized, they're not in the right job, they're not in the right relationships, because they're traumatized, they're afraid, they're stuck, and they're frightened of coming out of it. And my story is to tell you and share with you that you can do it. I'm living proof. It took me I was 28 years of age. 28 years of age when I finally started living my dream, which was to be a teacher, to help people to build confidence, overcome trauma. And that's continued in the last 12 years and evolved. But before that, I couldn't do it. I was afraid I could do it, but I told myself I couldn't, which is why I got bullied a lot by people. I'm gonna get this tissue, 1 second.
That's number one. Number two, you have to really very close connection. And that means really the judgment on your side. Some people are usually knowing that some people don't know, just got out. And these kind of people, good for you, but you're in a casino.
Just got some tissue there.
You can come up with them. Yeah, it's quite good.
One of the good challenges of drinking coffee and doing a live stream is it goes around your mouth, not professional.
You see? And knowing about banking, it doesn't mean that you no longer think. I know banking, but I don't know.
That's awesome, I appreciate it. Thank you. Cheers. Right, let's addressed. Can't be doing a live stream with coffee around your mouth talking about how to heal trauma. It's traumatizing. Right, so we've done that. So, like I said, it's not undervaluing the little things, because a lot of the times we don't do the little things because we consciously don't realize that unconsciously we're avoiding them because they're triggering. So, contradictory to popular belief, lots of people that have got trauma avoid triggers because it reminds them of the past and it causes pain, which I understand. That's why you're not getting over it. So at some point, you've got to face your fears. That's what I learned on my journey. My whole teaching has been about, number one is honest confession. It's about being honest and saying, I'm actually afraid. I'm afraid of many things. And I've got insecurities and I've got pain, and I want to improve them. I want to be a better person. I want to be more honest in my life. That's step number one. That's already addressing a lot of it, communication and being honest with yourself. And then the second one is having the courage to actually face the example. So when I was younger, I was frightened of people. I was frightened of everything in life. I was so traumatized and hurt and afraid and insecure. And I found it hard to admit that for many years. I felt shamed. I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want people to know that about me at the time. I got to a point where it was so painful that I couldn't handle it anymore. I got suicidal and I thought, I can't do this no more. And then I found, I prayed, faith, Les Brown's message, and I actually felt better getting it out. I actually felt more confident. I felt less scared. Right, I'm frightened of everything. I don't want to live like this no more. I don't want to be frightened of life. I don't want to be hiding in my flat. It's no way to live. It's not right. It's not honest. It's not correct. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. So why am I letting this be true for myself? So then I decided, I've got to leave the house. Right, I've got to join the boxing gym. The boxing gym scares me. That's where I've got to go. The weightlifting gym scares me. That's where I've got to go. Job interviews frighten me. That's what I've got to face. Money frightens me. That's what I've got to face. Selling. All these different areas that scared me, that were triggering, that caused pain. I went into them and I practiced them and I got better and better until they no longer scared me, or I can control it, and I found peace and got the result in that area. So it's really simple when you get down to it with what you've got to do and how it works, but the process is very challenging emotionally. But what other choice do you have? It's challenging already, so pick your pain. The pain of not facing your trauma, from my experience, eventually is agony, with no peace, with no hope, not in this life. You're just putting it off, and it's building over years, and that's what a lot of people do. And I observed that and thought, I don't want to live my life like that, because how long can you bury your anger? 10 years, 20 years, until you become mentally ill, get sicknesses like that, or pain. So there's a point where you go, I can't deal with this no more. I've got to face this pain in my life, whether it's anger. It's always anger, guilt, shame, fears, insecurities, all these human tendencies, until you say, right, I'm going to address it and work on myself. And that's why working on your mind, that's why exercising strengthens you. So when I did boxing, it was so challenging and frightening, but I just loved it. I loved how it made me feel after. The character and the courage that I gained from boxing gave me the strength to go in and face other areas of my life, especially with standing up to people. Because when you get bullied when you're younger, it frightens you, it makes you petrified, it hurts you, and it puts you in a state where you're frightened of pain all the time. So you're always trying to avoid avoidance, because you're trying to be safe, understandably, right? When you're younger, when you're an adult, but at a certain point that doesn't help you no more. The only way to overcome a fear is to face it. So if I'm getting bullied at school, and this is going on all the time, and I'm saying, this is ruining my life, the only way to overcome this fear is to face it. So number one, I've got to report the bullying. I've got to tell someone and put a stop to it. That is an option. And at some point, I've got to stand up for myself. That doesn't always have to be physically, although you can use the law, learn self-defense. So if someone's trying to hit you, abuse you, you can use within the law self-defense. But usually it's verbally. I'm not frightened of you no more. Don't talk to me like that, or I'm not giving you my money. Stand up for yourself. And then the bullies get afraid and they back down and they can't do it no more. So this is a huge part of the process of healing trauma, getting over anxieties, is standing up to the bullying of your own mind, your own anxieties, your own fears, your own pain. And as unpleasant as that is in the process, the joy and the peace you get after is worth it. So does that make sense? So when I first started doing public talks, I was terrified of public speaking because of my trauma, my anxieties and my fears. And it was difficult doing them at first. I was nervous, I was stuttering, but I stuck it out. And I kept doing it, and I got a bit better each time, and it got to a point where I absolutely loved speaking. Speaking healed me. It healed a lot of my trauma. Every speaker that I've ever met, every mentor that I've worked with, all my friends, all the mentors that I've looked up to, every single one of them, man and woman, has all said to me, and I know it's true, that speaking enabled them to heal a lot of their childhood trauma. And most importantly, it enabled them to educate people, to inspire them, to change their life, to stop people from taking their own life, to help them to be financial, all the areas of helping people to live a better life, be a better person. So the inspiration should be, I know you forget, people will do it, and I remind my clients and myself, if you improve your trauma and your anxiety, you can help more people, you'll be a better person. So this is all the ways in which you can do it. So everyone is in, and depending on where you're at, I call it the place where contemplation. So people are aware of their fears. So you've got social anxiety, you're aware of that. Or when I used to go boxing, I was petrified of the sparring. I wasn't scared of the training. I loved that. It was comfortable. But I was afraid of the sparring, because the sparring was difficult. It was hard getting in. It brought up a lot of fears, the fear of fainting, the fear of getting sick, the fear of getting knocked out, humiliated, beaten, embarrassed, ashamed, judged. All those fears came up, and I used to feel literally ill with anxiety. But after practicing for 3-6 months, I was a different person. I loved it. The feelings started to go away, and that's when I knew I'm healing. You know when you're starting to heal because your triggers are less intense. And you know when you've completely healed a trigger because you don't get triggered anymore. If someone says a certain word, someone might say a certain word to you and it triggers anxiety or fear or anger. When it doesn't do that no more, you know that you've addressed it. And with awareness, obviously being aware, saying, okay, I'm aware that I'm triggered right now. That's really important as well. A lot of people are angry, but they're not aware that they're angry, and that's where the damage gets done, or they're ashamed and they're not aware of it. So with awareness, you can go, right now I'm aware that I feel angry, don't want to be angry, don't want to think, but it's a normal emotion, it's human, right? I don't want to let anger ruin my whole life or put my anger on other people. What can I do? I'm going to go to the gym, work out. Working out will work in. If I go and do a run for 30 minutes, then it gets rid of my anger, makes me peaceful. Yeah, I can appreciate what you're saying, that it's hard. Obviously, I don't know you, I don't know where you're at, so I'm being sensitive to where you're at. But I would say that at some point, you've got to make a commitment to face your fear if you want to improve it. Maybe that commitment that you have to make is going to take a bit of time, because I do realise that there are certain fears that we can't always face fear straight away. Sometimes fear is so overwhelming and debilitating and painful that we're just not ready right now, and that's okay. I've been like that many times too in clients, but at some point it's in your best interest to face the fear, and if you can't do it on your own, that's when you should get help. That's what holds a lot of people up. They let pride get, they don't get the help they need. So with help and support, if that, I couldn't have got to where I got to without help. That's why I went and done boxing. I needed mentors. I couldn't do it on my own. I couldn't overcome the fear of social anxiety of someone bullying me, which I got bullied a lot growing up, or someone breaking my trust, or someone trying to manipulate me. All these fears I had, which originated from some of these things happening to me, I couldn't do these on my own. I had to go to the gym and learn from other strong people, strong men and women, until I could do it myself and learn myself. So I'd say one of the most important things I would say to anyone is you've got to get help. You can't do everything on your own, because you won't do it. It's too painful. So that is really important. And as I said, having a routine, my daily discipline routine is brilliant for facing the pain and healing a lot of your trauma, making big progress of confidence, discipline, happiness, and being more relaxed, with people in life. So, I've done a list below this video and all my live streams. You can go and apply the discipline routine right now. So making the bed in the morning, cleaning the apartment, trying to eat healthy, going to the gym, all these things definitely play a part in lessening trauma, healing it. So yeah, a lot of it is it's communication, it's discipline, and it's exercising. Yeah, well, with opening up again, it's a gradual thing. I'd say that's the best tip I could give a lot of you right now that would help you, is just work at doing these things gradually. So although I know that you're saying, a lot of you are saying that you're saying what you can't do, but let's focus on what you can do. So do what you can do. So if you struggle to open up with people, when you're around people, maybe you just want to practice doing a bit of small talk until you can get a bit more stronger and braver, and you can do a little bit more. So it's all about making progress, and you can't climb Mount Everest straight away. You've got to build the tolerance, like I said yesterday on the stream. The big changes that I see with my clients at the moment that I mentor is really getting them just to practice, daily discipline, just getting them to gradually face their anxieties, as opposed to trying to, make them face all of it. Now, there can be a time, I have it with my clients, and I had it on my journey, where you're stronger and you're ready to dive more into more of your anxiety so you can grow more, and that's really good. Like everything, there is a time and a place. But obviously you've got to, make your own decision as to when you're ready to face more anxieties. And I'd probably recommend everyone today on the stream would probably be best going about it, just taking one step at a time. One thing I'd be very aware of, which is what a lot of people do, you really want to minimize complaining. Now, we all do it a little bit, but that complaining actually adds to trauma. Whereas, gratitude and not complaining all the time will actually improve you. But if you complain all the time about the problem, then you're just going to add to the problem. You're not going to improve. You're not going to have a solution. So at some point, we have to realize that complaining isn't working. It's not helping. So we've got to get help. We've got to invest in a mentor, or we've got to, take responsibility, unless you want to, of course you don't want that, but if you want to continue suffering and not having peace and not being happy, then you're going to continue to complain. But at some point you have to be mature, and I had to learn that on my journey, because when I was struggling in my 20s, I always complained like a lot of you would. It's human, and blame everybody. But then I realized no one's going to help me, not in this way, and my life isn't going to change. It's not changed up until now. If complaining worked, everyone would be happy, but it doesn't work. Complaining actually causes more pain. So of course you're going to complain a little bit, but I'd say really reduce it. And the best way to reduce complaining is to practice gratitude. You can interrupt complaining right now at any point. Just go, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful that I've got food. I'm grateful that I've got a place to stay. I'm grateful that there are other people. I'm not the only one on the earth. Life doesn't just, it's not all about me, not being selfish, just thinking about yourself. That can massively bring you into a place of more peace and being, feeling better about yourself. So you have to minimize complaining, because every time you're complaining, you're just wasting your energy. And I realized that on my journey, and I still realize that now. I said one day, you know what, there's no point in me complaining that it's difficult going boxing, or it's so hard for me, or I've got so much anxiety, because it's not going to change. It's not going to change this way. No one's going to feel sorry for me. So I had to say, right, what can I do? Well, I've got to go down to the gym and face my fear. What's up, Frank? And I told the trainer and said, look, I'm a very nervous person. I've got anxiety. I want to box. I want to improve, but I'm really scared. And they said, that's all right. We'll help you. Come here, do this. Go on the bag. I followed what they said, and I got better. So I did it gradually. So you have to be humble. If you don't have humility, then you can't succeed on this earth, on this time, on this journey, without humility. I've tried it don't work. So humility is going, okay, I'm going to reduce the complaining. Every time you feel the need to complain, think about someone that's worse off than you, that doesn't have anything, ain't got anything. And that's not a guilt trip. That's going to make you stronger, going to give you a better character. And you'll find the less complaining you do, the more your life will go better. Or make a point of saying, okay, I'm going to allow myself to complain, but just for 1 hour a day. So I'm going to discipline myself. I'm going to complain for an hour, maybe in the evening, but for the rest of the time, I'm going to practice gratitude. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to talk to someone. I always say, if you can't help yourself, then you need to get help. That's what I've done on my journey. When I couldn't do things on my own, and that's a strength, and I was too scared or was stressed, I went and got help. And I got myself strong, and then I could help myself. So at some point, guys and girls, you've got to do something about it. Otherwise, it's just a broken record syndrome that we have a lot in our culture today, where people are just moaning and complaining, and nothing changes. You're just adding more pain and more pain, and you're not changing, you're not growing, and you're putting more pain on other people. That's a big problem in our culture. The good news is a lot of people are changing, waking up, working on being better, more positive, more honest. So I could sit here and tell you a sob story and go, oh, my life has been so challenging, I've suffered a lot, it's not fair, you don't understand. But everyone's been through suffering, but I could say my life's been amazing. The suffering that I've gone through has made me a better person. The experiences I've had could be in a Hollywood movie or a book. I can relate to everybody. I'm not better than anyone or below anyone. And my story can give people hope that they can overcome what they're going through, because I've done it, I'm doing it, I'm living it right now. And I failed many times, but I never gave up. So you've got to stop complaining if you want to change. Now, if you don't want to change, then don't listen to me. Continue doing what you're doing. You're your own person. Ignore what I'm saying. Continue complaining. If you're happy doing that, that's your choice. But for those people that are committed and want to be more positive and live each day with gratitude, you've come to the right channel, because this is what I've dedicated my life to every day. And it does work. You do have a lot of joy, within all the challenges that we all face on a day-to-day basis. Nothing of any value would ever be easy. If it was easy, you wouldn't appreciate it. When I first did boxing, I used to say to myself, why is it so tough? It was tough. It beat the crap out of me every week. But then I realized, when I started to improve and grow, I said, I actually love it. I love that it's tough. It makes me tougher. It makes me more humble. Now no one can bully me. Now I'm not going to bully people. I appreciated how tough it was. I was in the sauna yesterday, and I stayed for, my goal was half an hour. When it got to 20 minutes, I thought I was going to die and suffocate. I wanted to leave, and I was suffering and struggling. The conversation comes up, it's difficult. I want to get out of here, I want to go home, I want to eat a healthy meal, be with my friends. I said, no, I'm going to stay in it. This is amazing growth. Let me just tough it out. Let me see if I can do this. I want to help more people. If I can't stay in a sauna for half an hour, how can I tell people to be mentally strong? I've got no place to say that. And I sat through it and suffered and suffered and suffered and did the 30 minutes. When I come out, my whole day went well. Because I got gratitude, I appreciated it. I appreciate it. It is hard. Every single day of my life's hard. That's why I appreciate it. Running a business, teaching, growing, being accountable, but I love it. So don't continue to complain that it's hard, because if you want a great, easy life, then you have to face the hard. You have to face it at some point, because it's already hard for you. So life will be even harder if you keep saying it's hard, I can't do it. You're going to suffer more. So at some point you will be more successful. When you see people that are successful and you're saying it's not fair, why are they there and I'm here? It's because you didn't face it. It's because you gave up. It's because you didn't practice gratitude. It's because you didn't want to put the work in it. Everyone can do it. I'm no different to anyone. So that's why the first step is to make the bed in the morning. If you can make the bed every morning and say the words thank you, you can achieve anything. But if you get up every morning and you say I can't do it, I can't make the bed, then you're sabotaging your life yourself. No one else is doing that. But like I said, it's a relationship that you build over time. So obviously now I'm 40 years young now, but I can't go back. If I could go back now, I would appreciate boxing even more. I mean, I could still do it now. I'm not going to be to the level I was, because the reality is I'm 40, but I'm still fit. But if I could go back now, I'd appreciate it even more, because I've got more awareness, more gratitude. I love that it's hard. That's why I'm there. I didn't go there for it to be easy. What are you going to learn? You wouldn't learn it. You wouldn't get stronger. So sometimes we're always moaning that it's hard, but you wouldn't appreciate it. And then if you continue to face it, what was hard for you today will be easy for you tomorrow. So the pain makes you intelligent when you face it. You learn more through facing the pain, and then there's less pain, you get more peace. So another example I could give, everybody's got the ability to be good at public speaking. It's just an excuse, right? Everyone. But a lot of people will see someone speaking like me and go, he's really good at speaking, or she's really good at speaking. I can't do that. I've run out of things to say. I get awkward. How do they do it? But you would like the skill that I've got, great, or Les Brown or anybody, and I want you to have the skill, but would you be willing to go through what I had to go through and my clients do, and some of your friends? Would you go through the pain that I went through? Would you go through doing loads of talks where you got nervous, you got awkward and you failed? If the answer's not yes, then you're not going to achieve it. So when I was going to boxing, I was always going, I want to be like that guy in the gym. He moves really well, he's fast, he's strong, he's so confident. Why am I so insecure? Because he went through the suffering, he went through the days of being insecure, of getting knocked down, of not feeling good, of feeling up, whatever he felt, and he didn't give up, and he got stronger and stronger. So in order to get from A to B, you've got to go through the muck. So to get to more peace and more gratitude and happiness and confidence, you've got to face fear, you've got to face anxiety, you've got to face pain, you've got to face doubt, you've got to face disappointment, you've got to face shame, you've got to face blame, you've got to face loneliness, all of the tough stuff. Same with running, I've always admired people that do marathons. I've not done a marathon, but I'm up to an hour and 45 minutes, about 2 hours. I'm going to do a marathon soon. I'm working on it. I can do it. Running's same process of healing, and it's suffering when you first do it, or whenever you do it. Look at David Goggins or anybody. Try it yourself, and you might see people running and go, they're amazing, or they're in shape. It's not fair. Why am I not? Because you didn't put the work in. You didn't humble yourself and not compare and just say, one step at a time, go for a slow walk, turn that walk into a 30-minute run, stick to it, and then you'll get better and better. Then you'll build up, you'll build a tolerance. So it's all about putting the work in, working hard. What always gives me great reassurance and hope and gratitude and appreciation is, I know that I'm going to experience pain anyway, because we're all human and it comes with being human, but I don't have to have pain forever. But if I face the pain and I help others, I'm in less pain, I've got more peace, I've got more gratitude, because I've gone into the pain and then I've grown and I've got more intelligence. Intelligent people have faced a lot of pain. Facing pain makes you more intelligent because it gives you more awareness on who you are, learning more about people, about life, appreciation. It's an ongoing learning thing, which is why I love it. So I learned loads about boxing through going through the pain, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the fear, but also the joy of being around great people, the community, the love, the great moments, the great stories. So the pain that I went through back in those days, now it's peaceful because I love sharing it. And I never believed I'd be 40 one day. When I was in my 20s, I thought I'll be 25 forever. And I never knew that I'd be sharing this story. I never knew these stories would be getting shared. That's the beauty of life and appreciation and learning and accepting uncertainty. So you'll have a great story to share with other people when you face more pain, more anxiety. So yeah, therapy, mentorship, communication, exercising, cleaning, dieting, they're all ways. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up today. That'll be end of the talk today because I've had a long day, been a great day. I'm gonna have some rest. Did a 4-hour client session, which I really enjoyed. Did a talk today, 40 minutes this morning on a run, and I will continue. But basically, I've given you all the answers in this stream. All of you guys and girls can write it down and just go one step at a time. Practice the bits that you can. Every single day you do a little bit and make a difference. All right. Appreciate all of you. Have a good evening. I'll talk to all of you soon.